Okay, it's Thursday, February the 8th. It's my oldest brother's birthday and a few other people that I know, Henry. I have a very serious issue on my mind, and it's not something that I take lightly. When I was 14, I was starting to kind of skip out of school a bit, but things at home were pretty rocky. And from my own experience, I saw a lot of my friends suffering. And some of them started to commit suicide. 14 was when I lost my first friend. And it was devastating. I don't know that I've ever recovered from that trauma. But what I do need to say is that since that time, I've met a lot of people who have a history of having so much pain in their lives that they don't want to live. Or they don't know how to live. Because every day, every moment, every second is just excruciatingly painful. And I've been in that dark place, but it was like situational, you know? When my health was bad, there were times that I thought I would die, but I didn't really ever entertain the thought too much that I need to kill myself. And I don't think I've experienced it that often in my life. I tend to be an extrovert person, so everything's out there with me. You can read my face, my eyes. I'm pretty open with my emotions, how I feel, what I think, why I feel, why I think. And I never expect anybody to understand, because this is for my own purpose. This isn't trying to find people, to listen. I think this is a documentation of something that's very important to me in my life. And if it happens to help somebody, great. But I just am hearing more and more young people expressing the pain of not wanting to live. And I see a lot of parents who are completely unaware or unable to deal with the situations that their hurting children are going through. That could be self-harming, which means cutting, which is very normal and common, especially among young girls and young prepubescent teens. Girls usually cut, and they may joke it off and slough it off and say, oh, I got scratched by bushes, but you'll see a pattern. It's legs, it's thighs, it's arms. There could be a special place where they're not showing, where they're releasing that pain. And why do they cut? They cut because they need to feel something. They feel so numb inside and so dead that they will do anything to feel alive. And you know what's so sad about that is what 12 or 13-year-old is suffering that much. I get it. I understand it. I guess I just thought it would be so much different these days. But no, I mean, I still see latchkey kids. I see kids who are being groomed to live a very challenging lifestyle as they grow. And parents just aren't hands-on. You know, they don't think about what their kids are doing. They don't know. They don't ask. They trust. But these are just growing minds, and I really get concerned because they're trying to help each other, and they're not professionals. Their parents aren't even aware of what's going on half the time. I know I wasn't. I doubt if my family ever was. I've had a lot of suicidal family members in my life. So much so that they started a support group for people with suicide or who felt suicidal. That ran for decades. That's how long and how much help people needed. That's how people healed. And it's still needed. You know, if you know somebody who's suicidal, you ask them, do they have a plan? On a scale of 1 to 10, how painful is life? If you were going to commit suicide, what would you do? Just ask. What's it going to do? It might bring out to light something that you need to help them work on. But I would feel pretty shitty if I didn't say something. As a mother of 2 kids, as an intergenerational survivor of residential school, a survivor of family violence, and certainly a survivor of abuse, child exploitation, you know, stuff that I never should have experienced in life, but that's okay because that's the hand I was given, and I just have to work really hard to accept and appreciate the gifts that come from surviving these things. But in the last 5 years, I know of 4 girls. I'm gonna say last 8, 9 years. I know of 4 young people who've gone through sexual assaults and bury it. And it keeps rearing its head up in different areas. And they can't stay stable. They don't trust people. And they run. PTSD does that. We need more trauma-informed care. We need people who understand trauma. And we also need people who will not stigmatize people who are trying to get help. You don't kick someone when they're down. And when you don't believe them, it's like saying, you know, you're not worth my time. And you certainly don't aggravate the issue. I mean, if someone in your life is suicidal, you don't want to be the cause of that. You don't. Yeah, you just got to think about these things, because I do. And I don't really have anyone to talk to, so I kind of share my thoughts, because if I'm concerned, I know there are other people out there very concerned. I mean, shit, man, I heard about PCP, you know, hard drugs, and we had a really bad cocaine problem in Alert Bay. A lot of addicts, and still a lot of addiction. And that's no different than what a lot of people have experienced in the downtown east side. When a drug or a substance or a lifestyle keeps you and you can't escape. It's hard. And I guess the other thing I need to talk about is addiction. I have family members who are addicts. I would venture to say probably people have OD'd, but it goes under the carpet. People don't talk about it. I'm talking about it. Because if I was an addict and I died, I would be truthful about it. If my death was caused by drugs. But there's a lot of people who have a very large vested interest in not being discovered as a chaotic drug user. So what I'm hearing is that people are taking fentanyl patches and putting them on the roof of their mouth, in between their dentures and their roof of their mouth. This is very dangerous because it can go directly into your bloodstream. It's not a slow release patch on the skin. It goes directly into the bloodstream. And that's why these people have OD'd. So if you have an addict, it doesn't matter how old. I'm not talking about young people here either. I'm talking about people older than me. We have addicts, we have alcoholics in my family who don't stay sober. But there seems to be a larger silence around it for some reason, and shame and denial, and I'm just tired of it. That's all I gotta say.